So in factoring quadratic trinomials, when I taught you how to factor using the magic x, there was the case where the a coefficient is not equal to 1. And we have one right here, and there's a different way that I wanted you to see, just because some of you might appreciate how this goes. And it goes like this. I'm going to describe it, and then I'll demonstrate it for you. First of all, use the magic x to find the two numbers. Draw a big X. And use the first coefficient, 12, and the last coefficient, -1, and multiply them together. -12. Then use the middle coefficient, the 4, and now we need to find two numbers that add to 4 that multiply to -12. Well, I see 2 and 6. How's that? So 2 and 6, and if we make the 2 negative, when I add those two numbers together, I get +4. So we found it. Here's the new way to do this. The next thing to do is to use the reciprocal of the a term in front of a tall set of parentheses and set up the two binomials inside, where you then combine the first term with each of the found numbers. So this is exactly what I'm saying here. I'm going to take the reciprocal of the a term, 1 over 12. I'm going to put a tall set of parentheses right here, and then I'm going to put the two binomials in, 12x minus 2 times 12x plus 6. Now remember, the -2 and the +6 come from what we found in the magic x. Then close the tall parentheses. Now the next step is to factor the greatest common factor from each binomial. The reciprocal and the two greatest common factors should cancel and leave the solution. So watch this. We're going to take that and we're going to factor out, in this first part, factor out a 2. So we get 2 times 6x minus 1. And over here, we can factor out a 6. 6 times 2x plus 1. Put our tall set of parentheses and our reciprocal of the first coefficient in front. And notice what happens here. 2 times 6 is 12. 12 over 12 is 1. So everything cancels out. And look at what we have left over. 6x minus 1 times 2x plus 1. Now let's test to see if we got it. 6x times 2x is 12x squared. 6x times 1 is plus 6x. And -1 times 2x is minus 2x. And -1 times +1 is -1. So when we combine the middle terms, we get 12x squared plus 4x minus 1. And that's what our original problem was. So now I'd like for you to try. So take a little bit of time, pause this video, and see if you can't factor this quadratic trinomial. All right, let's do it. Draw a big X. 3 times -20 is -60, and 7 is the middle coefficient. And so now we're looking for two numbers that add to 7 that multiply to -60. Well, let's see. 12 and 5. I get 12 and 5, because when I multiply 12 and 5, I get 60. So one of them has to be negative. It looks like it needs to be the -5 so that I can get a +7 when I add 12 to -5. 12 plus -5 is 7. All right, now we go 1 over 3. We draw a nice tall set of parentheses, and we go inside and say 3a plus 12 times 3a minus 5. And that's creating those binomials using the found numbers from the magic x. And we put the closed parentheses in there. Now the next step is to go inside and see if we can't factor out a greatest common factor of each of the binomials. Well, that first one has a 3 in both the terms. So we've got 3 times a plus 4. I can't get a greatest common factor other than 1 out of 3a minus 5, so we just copy it down. 3a minus 5. Now our tall parentheses and our reciprocal in front, and notice the reciprocal cancels with that 3 right there, and we're left with a plus 4 times 3a minus 5. And we're done. Did you get it? Good. Let's try it again. This one's kind of tough. 7x squared minus 26x minus 45. This one's going to take a little bit of effort. We start off with draw a big X. We need to do 7 times -45, so -45 times 7. Let's see, 7 times 5 is 35. Bring up the 3. 7 times 4 is 28, plus 3 is 31. And it's negative because it was -45, so -315 and -26. Okay, well, I know this, that if you add 3 plus 1 plus 5, you get something that's divisible by 3, 9, right? So that means that 315 is also divisible by 3. So let's just break this up. We're going to ignore that negative for a little bit, but this is 3 times 105. And then 105, 1 plus 5 is 6. That's divisible by 3, so we can do it again. So 35, and then 35, well, we know that that's 5 times 7. So 3 times 3 times 5 times 7 is 315. We're looking for two numbers that multiply to 315. Well, we've got 3 and 305. Well, that's not going to give us anything close to 26, but what about 9 and 35? And we want negative 26, so if we make the 35 negative and add positive 9 to 35, we get negative 26. So there it is. All right, so we go 1 over 7, a nice tall set of parentheses, and we go 7x plus 9 times 7x minus 35. Tall set of parentheses. Okay, the first one, 7 and 9 do not have a greatest common factor, so we can just copy this part down. And then 7x and 35, yep, we can pull out a 7, so we get x minus 5. Then we have 1 over 7. That 7 will cancel with this 7 right here, and look at what we're left with. 7x plus 9 times x minus 5.